All right, so I want to ask you, Wally, where are we going first today?
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to the Anadarko facility, which is now known as Occidental.
Okay.
So I spent about 7 years in and out of this facility building it. This is the one you guys see me in the racks filming without any straps on, of course. Almost got the plant banned there. Had to actually quit doing filming there. They banned me from filming there at one time. So I mean, it was real serious, and I guess the reason they didn't want that is because people are out to steal ideas. You know, people are like, hey, look, we got a certain way we're building this, and it's a certain kind of top secret operation, how we're putting it together, and so they didn't want me advertising that, and I get it, man. There's jobs I do now where I don't want people knowing how I'm building it because it's my idea, it's my creation, and if somebody gets wind of it, man, they're gonna do that, and they're gonna make the money that I was trying to make off it.
So a lot of the times, if you're a welder or somebody, you really don't understand how the companies and project managers see things unless you don't see it like that, right?
Yeah, so the company managers and the project managers and all them businessmen, you know, they're looking at that work scope, and they're trying to press all these welders through a canal, basically squeeze them and press them as hard as they can to get as many numbers of welds as they can knocked out, because that's how this whole industry thrives, is how many inches are these welders getting out a day. And so you hear welders all the time spout off about how many inches they can get, you know, 100, 150, 200, 250, 500, whatever the case. But here's the realistic about it. Everybody measures their weld inches differently. So when I weld in the field out here, if it's an 8-inch pipe, that's 8-inch welds. That's not 3 times around. It's not, you know, that much. It's not 24. It's 8 inches. So when I'm telling you I'm getting 250 inches in a day, that's because I'm welding it straight across, not going around 3 times and counting all them numbers, you know?
Yeah.
And there is times where I've been able to put out massive amount of inches because I got up feeling good that morning, came in beast mode, and the next day I was so burnt out from coming in beast mode that I was like, yeah, forget that. I'm not going to go that hard today. And then the boss men are like, what gives? What gives? And I'm like, bro, I just spent a day burning myself out for you. Let me give a little relaxed day in real quick, and tomorrow I'll be right back at it. And then the next day after that, I'm gonna kind of simmer down. But there's been times where they're just like, now we need it now. So I'll be hood down 12 hours, 14 hours a day, just burning rods, dude.
So when we go to this place, is this one of your first places you started working at?
It's kind of one of the first places. So when I first broke out of the field, I went and did some work up here for Black Eagle. Then I ended up going to that, and then I ended up going to Wyoming, and then in Wyoming, I came back to Brighton for the Black Eagle Energy Services, and then I eventually went elsewhere and went to go work for another company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've had my fair share of jumping around different companies. You know what they say about welders, we're loyal to the dollars, so whoever's paying the most is where I want to go. So when I got wind that there's $5 more on the arm and $5 more on the rig and $100 a day per diem, and I wasn't getting that, well, it's time to jump ship.
Right.
And you know, sometimes the companies will be bitter and they'll put you on a blacklist and they'll never hire you again. But sometimes, you know, they understand a man's got to do what he's got to do to provide for his family, and so they don't hold it against you. But
so would you say jumping like that is easier when you've been in the industry a while and have a name? Like you don't want to do that right out the gate.
Yeah, you don't want to do it out the gate because then you get that name and reputation of he's just going to drag up on you the moment he gets it. But
that's what I did. I
know seasoned welders. That's all they do. The moment they get wind of somewhere, they drag back. They drag up and go back to that company, and they'll even drag back and come back to the other company they just left if they counterweight the money. I've seen it happen.
But that's a whole lot of back and forth, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I've also seen this too, where we go out of state, we go take a test, and I'm testing with some of the best welders, and they're busting, and I'm like, why are these phenomenal welders busting their weld tests? And it's because they don't want to be there.
Really?
They don't want to be there. They don't want to go work out of state. They want to stay home, close to home, and I get that now. I didn't know that then, but I get it now because I asked one of the welders. I was like, "Why did you fail the test, bro?" He goes, "I'm 100 miles from home. I ain't trying to be that far."
Gotcha.
I said, that makes sense. And he
goes, why did they get the weld test though?
Well, what it is the company will get awarded the project, and so they'll need to start sending welders to fill the welding roster list to get welders there.
Gotcha.
So no matter how many welders they send until the roster's full. So if they're sending all of us first thinking we're all going to pass, but only one of us pass, well, now they got to send 3 more guys and hope they can fill those other 3 spots.
Gotcha.
Because most of the time the companies have so much work that they're just trying to fill positions, and spill spots.
Right.
So the guy that's here got it all made. They're like, hey, go take a test up there. He don't want to go up there.
No.
He's got it made right here.
Right here
so
at the house.
Yeah, so he'll go bust the test just so they keep him at the house.
Dang.
Yep. So that's what I've always had to deal with, man. I've always had to deal with that. But I've always been loyal to companies, and I always worked hard, and I always stayed. And even when they were going through changes, I stayed with some companies. I've even switched hard hats, we call it, where you work at the same facility, but then another company will get awarded the work, and you now work for them now.
Right.
Yep. We just call it switching hard hats. So I've switched hard hats in my career a ton of times.
And then, so now, did you travel really far out any in your career? Like, is there any places you went really far out, or have you been based mostly home?
Yeah, mostly home. You know, there was one time before I ever rigged out, I went to California with a rig welder. I was working in the shop, he was working rig welders, the guy, and so we went to Lodi, California to go work on a compressor. And of course the welder, real cool guy, love him to death, but he was just like, all right, well, you're the welder on this trip. I'm just going to drive, and I'm going to get the welder wages, and you're going to do all the work. And I was so happy to be like, yeah, heck yeah, because I was getting a per diem, and I was getting a little bit more extra, and I was gone for a week in California.
Okay.
So I was happy, but that was the only time I've ever had to travel that far for work, and that was before I rigged out. Once I rigged out, I think the furthest I ever traveled was Douglas, Wyoming.
That's so different from the industry. Most of the people in the industry think you got to be gone all the time.
Traveling. Now you can be a traveling welder, and a lot of times the guys that are traveling is they're chasing that per diem.
Right.
Because that per diem is not taxable.
Right.
So they're going to want that untaxed money because, you know, unclaimed money is great money, you know. If you ain't got to pay taxes on it, you're getting that whole honey pot.
Okay.
And so people are chasing the honey pot. But me, being at home, I still had companies paying me per diem for being at home.
Gotcha.
And you can find companies like that. You can find companies that'll still give you the per diem, still give you the high rig rent, and still give you the good arm wage.
But you can't just be anybody, though, right?
You have to be a skilled welder.
Right.
I don't really consider myself the best welder. I don't consider myself a good welder. I consider myself a decent, adequate welder. Like, I'm thorough.
Right.
I make sure that I know the process and that I can pass the process. Sometimes my caps don't look good. Sometimes they look phenomenal. And if they look good, I'll snap a picture and I'll post it. But sometimes we're just trying to beat X-ray. We're just trying to hurry up and get the job done and get out of there. And of course, you know, sometimes them welds, they're looking like a little bit of hot smear, but guess what? It beats X-ray and it's within the code, so
it gets done. It gets the job done.
Yeah,
I think,
and those companies are pushing for that.
Well, and so that's what happened towards the tail end of my welding career. You know, the first couple years I focused on making the welds look so freaking pretty, and you know, I would get them done in a decent amount of time, but towards the end of my career I was just slamming them out. They were still looking good, but they weren't like my best work. But being fast, passing X-ray, that's what companies want. And I had foremans and GFs fighting over me.
Yeah, because
on a job site because they want a welder. Fast production
and still somewhat to look decent.
No, trust me, if you can make it look good and weld fast, you'll do fine anywhere. But here's the thing. The companies won't say they want that.
Yeah, they don't ever tell you.
They won't say in the meeting, hey, we want guys that are fast and good. No, they're going to say, hey, we want guys, take your time. But deep down, everybody just wants a welder who is good and fast. So that's why it's important to not sandbag shit and just weld it.
So
you know?
You're right. And for me, I mean, I only get this from one of my bosses that used to work with me. But he would always tell people, I'm a racehorse. He's like, Walt's a racehorse.
Right.
You got to know how to work him.
Right.
He's a racehorse. Once you let him out the pen, he just goes.
Right.
You got to know how to use him right.
Right.
Otherwise, he's going to sit there and he's just going to be like a horse at the water, not drinking.
Right.
You got to know how to run that horse.
You got to know how to run it.
Yeah, and so I'm a fast-paced welder. I like to go fast. I like to weld hot. I like to weld real fast. Just for some reason,
but also
it's my style.
But you don't want to screw yourself doing that too, though. You got to be smart about it.
You got to know.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah, you got to, realistically, you got to know how hot you can run and how fast you can run it.
Right.
Otherwise, you get yourself in trouble. I've blown holes in my welds. I've destroyed pipes. I've had to cut things out. I've busted X-ray. I mean, it's real.
I've busted a bunch of X-rays.
Yeah, I've busted X-ray. That's how I learned, man. That's how I learned to go in and fix it. Now, of course, I knew the process. I knew how to do it.
What about those welders that say they've never busted a weld? Do you believe that?
So I got one guy who swears by he's never busted a weld since 1983.
I don't believe that.
His name's Scotty.
I don't believe that. Not at all. I bet you somewhere.
He welds with a pancake with no side shields.
Dude,
I worked this guy. He's bad,
dude,
bro.
I know, but dude, I'm telling you what. I don't believe in welders not busting a weld, because here's the thing. If you're not constantly trying to get better or faster, you're gonna bust. And also, I swear, everybody's gonna bust, but there are times whenever you can actually get that bust voided.
Oh yeah,
and
you
make
can fight
it an
it.
info shot.
Yeah.
So, I swear, welders have fought welds and made them info shots
Since day one, probably.
just to say they've never busted a weld. Dude, I swear, not knocking your buddy.
No, Scotty, I would call him all the time out and be like, yeah, bull crap. Like, I didn't believe it. Like, I've never met anybody that has said that, to be honest. Oh, I've never busted an X-ray.
Dude, I hear it all the time in the specialty world.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, I look at these guys, they're like in their 50s, they're like, dude, I've never busted a weld my whole welding career. And I'm like, either you sat in a shop and didn't weld anything hardly, or you're just lying just to sound cool.
See, I've put so many welds down in my life, it's impossible to not bust a weld, because I'm only human, and I can only catch so much of the perfection before that one little spot gets missed. And I've had X-ray call me into the X-ray truck and they'll be like, bro, you got to repair.
Right.
And they're shocked.
Right.
And they're like, and it's nothing, it's a spec.
Right.
They're like, but
the code was
but the
severe,
code
right?
is severe cycle,
Yeah.
so you have to go in and repair it. And I'm like, damn, is there any way to fight it? And they're like, tell you what, you go in, you repair it. This is how most companies are. You go in, you repair it. We erase the repair and we just say it's a good weld, and we put the film as a good weld.
Right. And so that's how
how
a lot
become.
of guys.
That's how they think.
Yes.
They've never busted a weld.
That's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah.
going off of the hard paper data.
Yeah.
You know?
And to be honest, I don't know how many welds I've done in my life. I would probably say they're probably in the millions. I've probably welded over 1 million welds in my life, guarantee it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many welds I've busted. I'd probably say, I know it's under 100.
Right.
I know it's at least under 100. I don't even think I've busted over 50.
Right.
But I've had my fair share of busts.
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when you do bust, you bust.
Oh,
man.
dang it. They're not letting me turn down this road. Oh, just a turning. Nope, it's closed.
Ooh.
So,
Different road?
I don't know. That's the road we needed to go down.
We might have to check our Google Maps real quick.
Yeah,
All right,
I have
let
to.
me check. All right, so this is Suncor Energy?
Yeah, so this is Suncor Energy's little facility, like right here. Now, they have a major one down in Commerce City, but this is a fuel station pretty much right here.
How far is this from your house?
This is maybe about 2 miles from the house.
Jeez. Okay.
And then, so as we go down this road, it'll take us up behind Occidental, and you'll see where the Occidental plant is.
All right.
So this is a lay down yard for them now. They got a bunch of pipe laid down here. It's like their little lay down yard here.
Right.
So sometimes you'll come in here and you'll fabricate out of their yard if they got the material. But this is all like,
It's farmland.
yeah, this is all farmland out here.
It's super chill.
Yeah, it's way chill out here. I really love it. I met my wife out here 19 years ago. 18 years ago, I met my wife out here. No, it was 19 years ago I met my wife out here. We actually met at a party. My friends were having their brother-in-law go away to the Army, so we all showed up. I was my homeboys. She was the homegirl.
But she was out here welding.
Yeah.
Working? No, you wasn't even doing that?
No, I was out here welding, but I was working in a rest car. A derailed, or not a derailed place, high luxury passenger cars that I built for the railroad at this time, And so, that's kind of where I was in my life. I was just kind of starting my welding career. I was working in the shop. I was just trying to get my feet wet. It was actually my wife, after I hooked up, that encouraged me to go chase this pipe welding work. My friend had went and gone and tested for this guy in a compressor station that had actually invited us to the party where we met. Okay. And he didn't take the job. And I called the guy up and I was like, hey, I'd like to come be a pipe welder, take this pipe test. I got my hands in pipe a little bit. I know how to weld, not the best, but I give it all I got. And he liked my attitude. He liked my enthusiasm. He said, hey, I'll give you a shot. Come on down. He's like, what are you looking to make? I said, well, I'm only making like 17. I'm about 22 years old at this point. I'm only making $17.75 working out of this shop. I said, I'm only making $17.75. He goes, well, what are you looking to make? I said, anywhere higher than that. He goes, how about $20 an hour? I said, bro, I'll be there tomorrow at $20 an hour. So I jumped ship pretty much. I went to go take a test. I bombed the test. I didn't do good. But he loved my enthusiasm. He loved how courageous I was and encouraging just to kind of go after this and trying to capture this. That he gave me a shot. He says, tell you what, I'll give you a week. I'll hire you, and I'll give you a week to practice all week, and I'll pay you for it if you can pass the test at the end of the week. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I just, the other job I had for 2.5 years, later guys, I just left, bro.
And you practiced for a week.
Yeah, so I went down to his shop and I practiced. I cut a 40-foot stick apart and welded the whole thing back together, dude.
Oh
on
my
6Gs,
God.
on little 6G pups. Just 6G at 6G, because that's what I had to pass, 6G.
Right.
Downhill, low hydrogen up.
Yeah.
So I was struggling on my bottom.
It's like a flip-flop test.
Yeah, I was struggling on my bottom, man. I couldn't get these bottom passes, and finally Dan Smith came up and he was like, Wally, bro. He's like, just practice your bottom passes all the way up the pipe. So I just was practicing bottoms. Finally, I got it, and I walked over. I was like, I got it. Come look at it. He was like, bro, I think you got it. So finally, Friday came around, and I came in, and I was like, let's go. I'm going to do this. And so I set it up, and it took me like 3 hours to take the test and cut the straps. Or actually, I didn't cut the straps. It wasn't a strap. They just x-rayed it.
Really?
They just x-rayed it.
Okay, well, that's even better.
It was way better, but I passed. No imperfections, no nothing, dude. They shot it at severe cycle, it passed. It was all clean, all of it. And at this point now, boss is shaking my hand, said, welcome aboard, man. And I was stoked. I was so stoked. So, I mean, that's kind of, I was there for 5.5 years, man, and I learned everything.
Wow.
I built all kinds of compressor skids that went all over the world. The biggest job we did there were 50 stainless steel compressor skids that went to Saudi Arabia. So that's where I learned to cut my teeth on the TIG.
Okay.
And so I did everything. I built vessels with MIG. I stick welded all the pipe. I TIG welded all the stainless. And I mean, I really learned how to fit and fabricate there. And that's where I really got the whole meat of my career, was right there at that vessel shop. UECompression, mad shout out to UECompression, man, for taking on Nick Tinsley's welding company, and then Nick Tinsley for hiring me. So mad shout out to those people, man. Those are, look at, see, I told you I knew the back way.
Road close to an
Yep,
hour.
so these are the two facilities.
Okay.
So the one on the left has been here since the 60s or the 70s, I believe. And the one over here on the right has pretty much been here since like the early 2000s.
Okay.
So a lot of the times you see these right here, guys. These are your wells, right? Those are all your wells coming out, and they go to this, the battery station. So the wells feed the battery stations. So they run flow lines all the way to the battery station, and then they build the battery stations up. Now, I didn't get to build any of those. I was over here in the plant when all this was getting built. But you see them everywhere out here. You see lots of these little battery stations. You see these virtual pipeline stations like this one right here. This is kind of big. This is like a new thing. It's kind of like a launching receiving station where they're calculating and measuring all the flowage of all this stuff. So this is like kind of a new kind of operation going on here. They call it the virtual pipeline.
Interesting.
It is very interesting.
Huh. So it's a new thing they're trying out.
Yeah, so we got some drilling going on here. A lot going on here. Here's another launching and receiving station. Years ago, you guys might have seen me doing all this white pipe on top of these vessels right here. I did all that with my buddy Vance and Richard Yazzie. Some real cool people, man, that I've worked with. So these are compressor buildings. I went from building those compressors to installing the compressors in the buildings, guys.
Okay.
This facility over here is more like the small gas plant of this gas plant. Real small piping, a lot of intricate measuring apparatuses going on over here. Real cool people that work for these companies. I loved getting inside these facilities. But anybody that knows working in these facilities, it's high on safety, bro.
Yeah.
You know, you guys got to be clean and sober stepping into this plant. You can't be all screwed up and intoxicated and messed up on drugs. Like, you need your full thinking capacity to be here. Now, here's the big H2 process that I was talking about.
Okay. These
yeah, the
towers?
test, yep. So that's a big H2 process. Now, we're not supposed to be filming this, so keep the camera low. But I'm just going to kind of do a loop here. So I did all the top racks that led over to this, bro. I built all that right there.
Gotcha.
That's where my big hooch was back in the day. See it way back there?
Yeah.
That was the big hooch we built.
Nice.
Yes. I'm sorry if you catch some of it out here. So this big compressor building there. So remember when I was on the racks doing all the U-loops? Look, there they are right there. See that big U?
Yeah.
Horizontally looking?
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
So those are the racks. These are the D-high towers. So there's a lot of ammonia being pushed through here. These buildings right here are all stainless steel. That's all stainless steel, dude.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's a lot always going on. This plant is continuously expanding.
And it's all just oil.
It's oil and gas, yep.
Oil and gas.
Yep, and so this place over here is their holding facility. So these are all storage tanks. So a lot of it's getting pulled out of the ground, it's being stored over there, and then it's being transferred over to either this one if it's not being pulled out of the ground here.
Okay.
A lot of the times they just bring trucks here and fill those trucks up and move those trucks out of here with whatever commodity they're pulling out of the ground. This right here, I did the underground to this. I didn't do all this up here, but I did all the underground to this right here with Eddie Sherman.
Okay.
So this was a line coming out from Hudson that I actually, years ago, I got pictures and videos of me putting that line in down there.
Nice.
Big old 90 with a 45 hanging off
So
of it.
what years was this that you were doing all this around here?
I would say I broke out in like 2000, I want to say I broke out in 2008 maybe.
Okay.
So about 2009, 10, 11, 12.
Would you rather work for like a stricter facility or a more laid back facility? What's the pros and cons to a strict facility? What's the pros and cons to a chill facility?
Okay, me personally, I would rather work for the strict people. I personally love being held to a higher standard. Oh boy, smack me when I get out of line. I like being told I'm getting out of line, because guess what? I'm a loose cannon. I'm gonna get out of line, homie.
Right.
And you're gonna have to put the rings on me, because if you don't, I'm gonna be a wild horse running wild in your damn freaking thing, welding whatever I want.
Right.
But you know, the pros of working for somebody strict like that, you're more on top of your game, you're more thorough with your game, and you go further in your game.
Right.
Somebody that's more lenient, man, they let you get away with stuff that could end up crippling you. It could end up hurting you.
Because then you may go on a serious
job. It could end
job.
up sabotaging you.
Right.
And so I've had both the best worlds. I've lived on jobs where it was so laid back, it was so lenient. We sat in our truck all day and collected 12-hour pays, bro.
Right.
Sometimes we sat in the truck for 4 hours, they send us home. They're like, hey, you guys been sitting here 4 hours, we'll send you home for 10 or 12. And I'm like, sayonara, homie.
Right.
And that was a lot of time. Sometimes we'd be on the pipelining for a couple miles, and we hit our quota, and it's 2 o'clock, and we're going home for 10 hours a day.
Right.
You know, and those are the chill companies that I like. So those are the kind of chill. Other companies, nope. You're here 10 hours no matter what. Whether you're in your truck or you're working, you have to be here these 10 hours.
Gotcha.
So, you know, those are the pros and cons, you know. It's really how you want to live. You want to live a little bit more relaxed and have a little more leniency, then yeah, you're going to want to chip down on the dollars and go work for the guys that are less lenient. But if you want to be moneyed up and you want to be skilled up and you want to be held to the highest standard, well, you're looking for those guys that are holding you to the highest standard possible.
Right.
Yep. And I don't know, I love working. I'm not a workaholic, I'm just addicted to progress. I just want to continuously be progressing in my life, whether it's learning something or developing something. Like, I just want to be constantly going up in life. I don't want to go down in life. If I'm going down in life, well then I'm not living life. I feel like life is all about moving forward, moving up, doing better, and progressing. Life is a progression.
Now, has there ever been instances in your life where you got in a rut? And then how did you get out of it?
So, I feel like everybody can be in a rut, but I myself have strategically planned for ruts. So if you know that things could arise, you try to plan ahead for them. So when I had those ruts happen, I was well prepared for the rut, you know, and I was able to kind of skate out of it or get out of it with less headache. Sometimes if you're not setting yourself up, the headache can end up being detrimental to you, and it could drown you.
So what is preparing for a rut?
Financial, basically, is mostly what it is.
Most problems stem from financial problems.
All problems usually come from a financial situation.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't say all of them, but let's say a majority of them. Majority of them come from a financial
majority
situation.
Majority of them can be fixed with money too.
So I love to listen to like audiobooks, and I'm listening to an audiobook called Your Money, Your Life, Your Money. And it talks about money being your energy, right? So basically, what is money? That's your energy, baby. That's your energy source. So without an energy source, it's hard to live and it's hard to do things. Without money, it can become complicated in life. So when you're in a rut, most of the time it's because you ain't got the money to get yourself out. So you got to be disciplined enough to not be buying potato chips all the time, buying all these drinks and blowing your money, because we live in a consumer world, guys. And I didn't realize that for a long time until finally somebody kind of pointed it out, like you're just blowing all your money when you could be saving all your money.
Right.
And you're in this rut because you didn't plan and save for it.
Right.
And so when I was in a rut one time and I was asking out for help for money, it was my dad that told me, you wouldn't have to ask anybody for help if you had planned and saved for the hard times, for the rough situations, the ruts that you're in. You know, I think what happened was the vehicle went down, was late on some payments. Oh yeah, I've been there too, man. I've had to penny pinch my whole life to get to where I am now, to know that money's going to work for me. So for the longest time, money worked against me because I didn't know how to make money work for me. And I just got to a point in my life to learn how to let money work for me. And that's being in the rut,
so
letting the money work for me.
What age did you fully realize, what age did you understand about letting your money work for you and investing and planning for the ruts or bad times?
It really didn't happen until I became, I would say, rig welder. And I started getting an abundance of money.
So that was like, what, 25?
I rigged out at 28.
Golly, so
yeah, so I was a late bloomer, bro.
That's a late.
I'm a late bloomer.
Damn.
And I watched all my friends rig out of the shop and go take off. So as I'm sitting in the shop watching my friends build a rig and take off one at a time, I'm just becoming envious, like, I want this, I want that, I want to be that guy. So, my poor little heart's just sitting here just beating out of my chest, just trying to pray and hope that someday I'm going to make it. And so with my discipline in my mind, I knew someday if I just kept being disciplined and saving my money and doing the things I wanted to do, I would get there. So my friend called me one day and he wanted to give me a position working out at Black Eagle, and it just wasn't going to happen because I wasn't saving my money. I wasn't doing it right.
Gotcha.
And I didn't have the driver's license at the time. And he told me, you got to get your ducks in a row. If you don't have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, well, you're never going to go anywhere in your life. You're going to be just crossing I's and dotting T's for the rest of it.
Right.
He's like, once you cross them and you dot them, you're on to the next level. So get on to the next level. Sorry, guys, but life's like Mario.
Right.
You got to get to the next level so you can beat Bowser. I mean, that's realistic.
Right.
Bowser is just the guy trying to beat you down every day and keep you down.
Right.
Don't let depression, I know it's hard. Some people, they let depression just sink them,
Right.
But that's disciplining yourself. Like, I've had those positions where I was down on money. I was feeling a little bit depressed, and I had to pull that discipline out. It's kind of like Eminem said, you got to reach down inside and pull that motivation out.
Right.
And you have to go after it. And so early in my life, probably about 22 years old, I started realizing these things. I started realizing, man, I got to pull this motivation out of me and go after what I want. And then when Dan finally called me and told me, like, you got to get your life on track, is when I really started channeling and focusing. Okay, penny pinching, save money, don't splurge, stay focused, have a goal, and drive towards it. Like, if you're not making goals and driving towards it, then you're just kind of wasting your life away. You're just kind of living
Like what's the point?
Yeah, you're just like a bird, just flapping his wings in the wind, just not going anywhere. You want to go somewhere in life. And so I guess me, I come from not a rich family. I come from, I wouldn't say very poor as some people, but I didn't have all the things I wanted in life growing up. That's why my kids have all the things they want, because I never had those things in my life. So I give it to my kids, man. And they'll probably grow up and not give their kids nothing. And that's where the cycle will start over. Gotcha. And that's how it is. Those spoiled kids that have everything give their kids nothing, and the cycle repeats in life.
Right.
People work hard to give their kids what they never had. I remember my dad telling me that. I told him one day, I said, I'm never going to give my kids crap. And he looked at me and says, why do you say that? I said, well, I never had nothing. He goes, that's bull. You'll always give your kids what you never had. And it took me years to realize why my dad let us just roam free in the mountains. And it's because my dad was in military school and he was told what to do for his whole youth, his whole childhood. So what did he do? He gave us what he never had, freedom.
Just do whatever.
Just do whatever. Ride dirt bikes, go fishing, do whatever. All right, so here's DCP Midstream.
All right, let me read.
This is one of their... So we're going to turn in and just take a quick little loop right here at the DCP Midstream facility. Oh, look, it's actually Occidental. Tall grass. So a lot of times these companies will change. They'll get bought out by somebody. It might have already... I mean, I swear when I was doing the work here it was for DCP. But I actually tested in with Anadarko. So Brandon tested me when I came out here years ago. Real cool guy. It was a hybrid test. Half low hydrogen, half downhill. And so a lot of the times out here when you're going to work in a facility like this, they want you to be, combo hand. They want to see if you can MIG it, or they want to know if you can stick it uphill and downhill. And so when I did take the test, I had to take a hybrid 8-inch, 500 wall, and you had to preheat it. And then I had to turn around, I had to take a stainless test, 2-inch, and a 2-inch carbon TIG test. Oh yeah, this is really expanded since last time I've been here. Yeah. So these plants just keep expanding and expanding and expanding and getting bigger and getting better and more powerful. Yeah, this is all new.
All of it?
Yeah, this is all new since last time I've been out here.
How long was that?
Well, the last time I was out here, I feel like it was maybe 2017. I was up in those racks right there. Okay. Doing those split tees. You can see them with the red actuators on the top of them. They had them all scaffolded up. That's where we did all the split tees right over there. Gotcha. I welded a lot in this facility. with my good buddy Wade Robbins. He's an awesome, amazing welder. We did all the split tees here together, but I also came out here with Vance Lowry and made that crew shine. I mean, he was telling us to get a certain amount of quota a day and then we could go home, but after they caught on that Vance was doing that, they put a stop to it because I was getting my quota of inches before noon and I was going home at noon and getting paid overtime for working part-time. And so when
that's what happens when you're fast.
Bro, that's what happens when you're quick and you're slick. And so Vance would just be like, all right, Wally, later. And he would put it in all the other welders' faces like, Wally's leaving, Wally's out. And he would do it with all the welders leaving. He'd be like, oh, you know, so-and-so's leaving. How far are you behind? Are you leaving next? And so it's whoever says that welding is not competitive is full of crap, bro.
We're out here see those comments?
We're out here all day. It's a pissing match. Who can tack 10 rods together and make a nice slick weld?
Right.
Who can bend the rod and put a bead in, you know? I mean, who's quick? Who's slick?
What do you say to all those people that welders don't make a lot of money? Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life?
So
now, let's say like if there's a shop job or something in your hometown, maybe you're basing it off that, or maybe a cousin or an uncle who didn't make much welding, but it's out there. It's so out there.
It's so out there, and you know, and I've climbed the peak. I'll be honest, I started at $9 an hour coming into the welding field, and that's before I became the welder. I just got my foot in the door at $9 an hour. When I finally passed the test, I got $1 raise, dog. I was making $10 an hour, and I was on cloud 9 because I was only 19 at the time, and I was like, man, this is
$10
it.
an hour.
$10 an hour. $10 an hour to weld. I worked 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. I got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. I was living a dream. I drove a little Geo Metro that had a stick shift. I used to jump the railroad tracks on my way home every day, literally. Get it off the ground, be all sideways, till one day my engine dropped out of my frame almost. I broke an engine mount, and I didn't realize what happened because the stick shift just sunk. And so when I went to go hit the gas, it like raised up. I was like, what the? So I had to like come in the next day and fabricate a bracket for my truck or for my car. Well, I had busted off where the bracket mounted, so I had to build this custom bracket that mounted into where the AC was because I'd already ripped out the AC of my deal, but it worked. But I couldn't get my car over like 65 miles an hour without it shaking so bad. But I mean, that was my first welding project, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
So $10 an hour. So just if you don't mind a rough estimate, what have you been making like recently?
Well, it's big numbers now because I own my own business. I work employees. I do a lot bigger contracts.
So how about we get simpler? How about the last time you were welding for somebody as a welder?
I'll tell you the scale. I'll tell you my scale until I drifted off onto my own. How about that?
Yeah.
So I started off at $9 an hour. I got a $10 raise. My second job, working for Colorado Rail Cart, I got $15 an hour to go start there.
And that was huge.
That was a big jump from 10 to 15.
What year is that?
I want to say early 2000s, 2006, 2007.
So is that pretty good for back then?
Yeah. So I was there for 2.5 years. I actually shot a documentary for the Discovery Channel there. High Noon Network came in. They interviewed 30 of us. They narrowed it down to 3 of us. They picked me. They came in and filmed for 2 weeks straight. And then I was on the Discovery Channel for 9 months.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And it was just a DIY, how to build these rail cars from the ground up. So I left that shop making $17.75. That's what I'd scaled up to go work for Nick Tinsley in the shop for $20 an hour. Well, I worked for Nick Tinsley for about 5.5 years, and he had scaled me up about $9 in those 6.5 years. So I'm in the shop, about 28 years old now, making $29 an hour. For me, I'm happy because I just wanted to get above $1,000 a week.
Right.
And so finally, I'm above $1,000 a week. I'm happy. But then what happened was there was a confrontation in the shop between 2 rig welders that my boss was working. And one of the rig welders took off. Dan, he left. He dragged up. Now we're talking the guy who built Coors Brewery, Dan Smith, Smith's Welding. Like, this guy's legendary.
Really?
He's legendary. And I'm not saying Nick's legendary because Nick's legendary. For all the things Nick has done and built, that guy he is up there on the scale for legends. But, you know, Dan's a legend, and Dan don't put up with shit. So when Dan said, I'm out, that was it. He packed his toolboxes in a day, and he was gone the next day, and he was about his money.
Wow.
Dan ended up securing the position down to be the construction manager for Anadarko.
Really?
Or for Black Eagle, actually.
So he did better.
Oh, bro, he just scaled up. Next thing you know, he just kept scaling and scaling and scaling. Dan ended up becoming, like, in charge of all the construction operations, dude. And so Dan's now calling me up when he still worked for Black Eagle before he came in charge of all of it. And he's like, you gotta get out here. Like, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your potential. You could be making so much more for how skilled you are. And I said, well, how much more, Dan? Now that we're talking about it.
Right.
And he goes, well, what are you making? About 1,000, 12, 15 a week? I go, yeah. He goes, we'll double that. I go, so you're telling me I can make 3 G's? He goes, or 4 a week. And I said, say no more. I said, what do I gotta do? He goes, you gotta get a truck and you gotta get out here. I said, well, Dan, I don't got the truck. He says, all right, well, I'll call you back in a year later, get that truck together. So he calls me back literally a year later. And I'm waiting for that phone to ring.
No way.
Bro, to the day.
Holy smokes.
To the day, on the lunch hour. Called me that lunch hour a year ago. Called me that year later on my lunch break. Knew I was taking lunch.
That's a serious guy.
Dan is fucking one of the most coolest people I've ever met. So I answer the phone and I'm like, all right, I got some news for you. I don't know if I can make the jump because I don't got the truck. Like, that's how I answered. I was like, all right, Dan, I don't got the truck, bro. I don't got the truck. I said, I got the money, but I don't got the truck. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. I got them to build you a rig.
Yeah.
Bro, I was like, no way. He's like, oh, way. I got him.
Would that have happened if you were the person that you are?
I don't know. I don't know. Because Dan kind of took me under his wing, started showing me how to fit and fabricate. And Dan and I really grew up on together. So as my boss was gone, Nick, as he was gone doing things, he was relying on his guys to kind of show and train me, which is kind of what you do, you know?
Right.
But Dan, he really embraced me, bro. And we clicked, man. It was like we were cut from the same cloth, man. Like, we'd finish each other's sentences. Well, not really.
Right.
But it felt that way.
Right.
But Dan is such an educated, smart man that he looks at equations with an answer right away.
So you could consider him a mentor?
I consider him, yes, one of my biggest mentors.
So you think that's one of the biggest things for somebody in any
mentor.
industry or field is getting a mentor?
Getting a mentor, guys. Getting a mentor. Getting somebody. Now, see, I was already a welder, though. I was already passionate about welding and doing and building, and so he didn't have to like instill that in me. I'd already had that in me. I've worked guys.
Well, and that's the thing. He was there for all of the other stuff that you didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's where it came into. That's where it came into play.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, and so that's it. I jumped ship for $29 an hour to go make $35 an hour plus a company rig. Now, when I went and told Nick, here's my 2-week notice, he was kind of upset because I was leaving to go work for Dan, and I was honest about it. Hey, I'm leaving. It's my 2-week. I'm going to go help Dan. He's going to put me in a truck. He's going to work me 7 minutes from the house. And he goes, all right, so you're going to drag up for $6 more an hour. And I was like, plus a truck, plus 7 minutes from the house.
That's
like,
pretty good.
Yeah, I was like pretty adequate at like saying like, dude, Nick, like, look what I'm getting out of this. Like, and so Nick left for 2 weeks. And when he came back at the end of the 2 weeks, he goes, you know, I've never given my 2-week notice. I go, huh? He goes, I've always given a 2-day notice. And I go, how come? He goes, 1 day to show them all I got, and 1 day to show them all they're fucking losing.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, that's pretty powerful. He goes, that's how it is in the industry. You got to show them what you're worth, and they got to show them what they're going to lose.
So he wanted you to give you a 2-day?
No. I don't know what he meant by that. He was just kind of giving me his background story of how it was. And then he told me, he's like, you know, Walt, I would never hold a man down from trying to spread his wings.
Right.
So spread your wings, fly it, go as far as you can, and give them hell, boy. Because it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and they'll chew you up and spit you out with no remorse. And then it was like, these things being instilled to me before I got out there is what helped me fucking hold that torch, bro.
Yeah.
Because I was having those in the back of my mind, and bro, there's some dog-eat, cutthroat people out there, dude, who've sabotaged jobs for me.
Right.
You know, I've sabotaged my own jobs. I take the credit. I put the gun in myself.
Right.
But there's people out there, dude, they will set you up to fail.
Right.
They'll tell you, oh, yeah. And next thing you know, you're being run off.
Right.
So you got to be careful who you play ball with out there in the field, dude. Some people are out to snake you and get you out of there so they can get their cousin in there to come work with them.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
It's true. You know, years ago I worked for a company called, well, we won't say the company's name, but anyways, they told me we're going to send you out of state. It's just for a week. And when I got out of state, they're like, you're going to be here for a month. I was like, that's not what I agreed to. After a month of me being there, bro, I drug up. I was like, I'm not working for you guys no more. You've made false promises. I'm out of here. And they're like, well, where are you going to go? I was like, it don't even matter where I'm going. I'm not telling you where I'm going. I'm out of here. And I mean, I ended up working for a low paying outfit at this time. So basically, when I went to go work for Dan, $35 an hour. Right out the gate, I got jumped up to $30 an hour and $100 day per diem. And I'm like blown away. I'm like, oh my God. I've only been here 3 months and you're giving me a $3 raise and you're giving me per diem, $100 day per diem, 7 days a week, $700 extra a week. I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, this is insane.
So much money compared to what you were used to.
So much money. Well, fast forward a couple months now they're sending me to Douglas, Wyoming. Now they're paying me $45 on the arm, still paying me $15 on the rig, and now they're paying me $150 per diem. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. I get up there though, and I start passing I'm the first one to pass the weld test. So they give me the stencil A, and I'm on like cloud 9. I'm like, yeah. But I see these other two guys that are way better welders than me pull in, bust the test, pull out. And I'm like, that don't make sense.
Really?
Yeah, that don't make sense. So I went and asked.
And that's whenever they didn't want to be that far from home.
And it was Richard Yahazi. I'd probably take that name out of the video. But Richard, man, he was like, I don't want to be here. I'll come back when I want to be here.
Right.
Well, eventually what happened was they needed all the welders there eventually. So guess where he had to end up coming back to eventually. Right. And he ended up having to take that test again. And he's a phenomenal welder. He passed. He is probably hands down one of the best welders I've ever met.
Wow.
Yeah, Navajo, man. Him and his lady Hilda, some of the most coolest people I've ever met, you know. I just cherish people like that.
Yeah.
They were the type of people that would take you under their wing and kind of know that you were new and kind of help coach you, you know, kind of look out for you. Those were the ones that looked out for me. There were some of the ones, you know. There's a lot of people that looked out for me. Damian Wagner, man, he really looked out for me out there, you know. That was a good guy, you know. Jamie Deakins, you know. Vance Lowry, you know. These are some good people out there that really helped me, you know. Helped me finesse my skill and tune it in and really get good at what I was doing. Now, I've always been all right at welding, but, you know, these guys just helped me sharpen my sword even sharper. And so I always say that, man, life's a double-edged blade, and you got to keep both sides sharp because you never know which side of the blade you're going to end up on. And then when you do, you got to slice and dice.
So these are your favorite type of builds?
Yeah, these are little launching and receiving pads, bro.
So just quick and easy. Huh?
Yeah, so, you know, it's all prefab. That's about 90% rollouts, bro.
Right there on the back of your truck?
No, in my hooch at my shop. And then I'll come and deliver it, and I'll make one tie-in. From the ground.
One tie-in?
Yeah, I'll build it all and usually put it on a skid and come in and then set it all down and then fucking tie it in from the ground.
Okay. So you like those a lot?
I like anything that I can prefab, that I can roll out. I love rollouts. I mean, they didn't call me the rollout king in the industry for no reason, bro. I would get the blueprint and I'm like, it's a rollout party, guys. And they're like, what? I'm like, here, you roll this, you roll that, I'll roll this, you roll this, I roll this. I'm like, we're just gonna roll out for like a week and then we're gonna put them all together.
Tie-ins.
Yeah, I love that. So I'll build like, so basically the job I just did that I'm about to show you out here for the stainless, the last project I did, it was like 100 welds, 100 something welds. I did like 90 of them rolled out, bro. Okay. And I came out here, well actually no, about 98 of them. And I came out here and I did like 3 imposition welds, dude. That was it. So when I come and show you the project, realize I only did 3 imposition welds. And my imposition welds are rough. Because when you get out here in Kingsburg, bro, the wind is blowing, you gotta hooch it up, you gotta barricade yourself, you gotta do all you can to keep that wind off your, so then, after you keep all the wind off your back, now you're fighting the heat.
So what size pipe is it?
The one I'm gonna show you is 8-inch, but the plant fluctuates all the way from 2-inch pipe all the way up to 12-inch pipe.
Okay.
So all the runs are different, everything of like any gas plant, they all operate different, something's doing different. The dairy is really low pressure. There's only a couple high pressure lines that have to be full penetrated weld, but the rest of it is just slap and go.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you don't even purge it.
Perfect. Oh, the alloys.
Huh?
The alloys.
Yeah, look at that's the dairy right there with the domes.
Okay.
So there's one there and there's one way out in the distance that way. You can't really see it because those trees are hiding it straight over there.
Yeah, it's out there.
It's out there. So we'll hit both of them. We'll hit this one. We'll hit this one. We'll go by the other DCP plant, and then we'll go by the other Lost Creek.
Perfect. All right. So here we are, dairy plant.
So here we are at the dairy plant. This is the interconnection. This is the yellow pipe is what my crew and I did. Mostly my crew, but I had to come in and do a couple changes. But this is where they sell the gas back to Excel. So we create the methane up here, we build the gas up here, we shoot it down in a pipeline, we refine it right here, and then we sell it back to the gas company.
Oh,
so that's how this works.
There's so much going on.
So much going on. So look, there's a fuel station right there. There's a little mini gas plant right there. There's a lot going on here.
There's so much going on out here. And like, I was driving down here the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm in the country. But you're in the country, but you're not as well. There's also just so much work out here.
Yeah, there's a lot of work out here. It's really industrialized, is what people are saying.
It's like, wherever you live at, you may not know about the welding opportunities.
Because you might not be driving around.
Because you might not be driving around,
Yeah.
or you might just live there and overlook everything.
Yeah, you know, welders do, man. They overlook it, you know, when they're not hungry for money. But the moment you start starving for money, you start really looking around. I mean, there's been times where I've been just driving down the highways and I'll see a company, I'll pass a company and I don't know them. I still do it to this day. And I write the company's names down because I want to know who they are. And so I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, you guys need custom fabrication? And most of the time, they're like, yes. Where have you been?
No way.
Oh, bro, I land jobs all the time where I just email somebody. I say, hey, I saw you guys cruising down the highway. Saw that you do pipeline or saw that you do some kind of welding. Here's my information. If you need help,
Right.
give me a call. Like, I don't try to butt my way in and say, give me your work. I just say, if you need help.
Right.
So that's my best pitch. You guys need help? Just hit me up. I'm not here to steal the work, but if you need some hands to help, I'm all here to help.
So that's the biggest thing, is just asking, okay?
Just asking to help.
What was that Steve Jobs quote? Steve Jobs was like, he would call companies, he would do the same thing and ask them, hey,
You need help?
You need help.
This is what I specialize in. You know,
Right.
I specialize in welding the stainless, you know, and that's big out here with the dairies. So when they see it on my Google listing that I build this stuff, you know, like I just got hit up by another farm that wants me to build some stainless troughs for them. And I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, I would love to, because I love work, bro. It doesn't matter what it is. I
Right.
like to do it. If it involves fabricating and metal, bending, twisting, heating, welding, I want to do it. So I'm always taking on new projects. Yeah, you smell that? That's
Yeah.
the smell of money.
So what's going through the stainless pipes for the dairies?
Mostly just, all right, so I can explain this. All right, look, here's our dead cow pot. Don't show that. There's just one there. So these are shit ponds, bro. I know how the whole operation goes. So what it is they clean out the troughs where all the crap is. They wash it in washing pits. They de-sand it, so that's all sand coming out of their poo. Then they put it in here. They wash it into here. It sucks it back into that room and chops it and refines it, I think. Once they chop it and refine it, they start feeding it into these big things, these big rooms, these big domes. Then what they do is they have big trucks come in with vermin, which is like dormant, it's sleeping. Then they put these big semi-trucks in these domes and they fill these insects in with them. And then they bring the temperature up to wake them up. And then these bugs start pooping and farting and puking and tripleizing. And what they do is they create the methane. And all the methane rises to the top of the balloon, which is those. And then it sucks all that methane back, reprocesses it, refines it, sends it down the line, sends it back to the Excel operation down there, refines it again, and sends it back to the gas company as pure, fine methane.
Wow. That's
Bro,
insane.
This is going green, homie. Now this pond right here, I've seen it filled all the way to the top. It's low. And they got one over there, they got one here, and they got one in the back. Look at
This is all crap. It smells like crap.
Bro, this is shit. So this is the dark matter of the facility, guys. They have light matter and they got dark matter.
Always.
Light matter is all the milk and cheese. Dark matter is all the poop, baby. So this is what my crew and I came out here and did. We had to pipe in some of the systems out here and get this facility up and running. You know, we got bottles that desand it. We got compressors that squeeze liquids out of it. We have a burn off flare that burns all the excess. And it's just a whole operation here, guys. You know, you can see all the sand from the carbon cans.
So this is all good money just to deal with some cow crap.
Pretty much.
No way.
Yeah.
Who would have thought you could make so much money dealing with cow crap? This
Bro,
all
this
cow
is
crap.
all cow crap. So this is all stainless, baby.
Jeez.
So this is all the stainless I just built. This is all me, baby. I did all this, pretty much all this conjunction right here
Wow, that looks so good.
that we did. And so what these are is these carbon cans. They're replacing that big carbon can there. But then what they did was they tried to still keep the carbon can. So then I helped them remodify some pieces and reuse them. So that way they could save some money not having to buy new fittings and new pipe. I just take their old pipe, their old fittings, cut them, remeasure it, refit it, maybe put some new fittings, maybe some new pipe, and then put it back in service.
And you helping them save money, they love
Bro,
it.
I make them save thousands.
Wow.
Thousands. You want to jump out and take a look real quick?
Sure. Right, we got Wally's truck. Let's take a look at truck.
So this is to the white iron hustle series that I'm doing. I pretty much showed all the fabrication to all this.
Okay.
Showed all the layouts, showed all the math, showed all the takeoffs, everything. Showed them how to basically assemble it all together. But This was all me, man. I rolled all of this out. Pretty much all of this was rolled out. Every single one of it was rolled out. I rolled it all out.
And purging this or no?
No purge.
That's amazing.
No purge, baby.
Oh my gosh.
No purge. And
so just cow crap and no purge, man.
Yeah,
Good money.
no crap. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Killer
dude,
money,
I'm
dude.
Jealous.
Killer money, bro. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So I use reuse some of their pipe, and it's not in the best condition, but it's okay.
But you're just slamming and jamming.
Yeah, dude.
Right on.
I am. I had to pop some molets on down here and weld those on. This is where it got tricky. So the way they do this is they don't want somebody coming over here and having to reach way in the middle. They want them to come right here and turn that. So this is my imposition welds. It was rough tying these two in. Actually, no. I had to tie all 4 of these in. It was rough right here. And then getting my measurements. So all these lines right here, they actually tilt just a little bit so the run can come down and drain into it this way.
Wow.
And I'm getting ready to come back right now and do more. So basically, I had to redo all these lines. That line came down and just went into there. So I rebuilt it to come and tie into all this now. And I reused their pieces. So the 90 that was looking up, I just turned it down and built a whole new piece coming this way. And then I added a pup here to the T, and then I added a new piece and a flange to that. So that way we can use the existing pipe they had by saving some money here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that's how this all operates.
Yeah, that helps them out a lot.
Same here, look, it happened here too. We just cut it and just pupped it. Instead of having to put a new piece in here, we tried to use the old pieces.
Right.
Instead of cutting out this weld here and putting a whole new piece in, we just cut it here and pupped it.
It doesn't hurt at all.
It doesn't hurt. And actually you can see all of it's gonna get insulated. You won't ever even see it.
Doesn't even matter.
So the next build I got going on, so yeah, I did all, this was a cool piece when it first was here, but I had to come back. It did go like this. It was a real intricate piece.
Okay.
And I had to chop it all apart.
You made it simpler.
Well, it had to go into 2 lines now.
Oh.
So it was just one line coming in this and going up and then feeding back, but they wanted to separate it and do 2 lines.
Okay.
Now I got to come back and do some more work here. This is basically a compressor. So they want me to come over here now and do 2 more lines, 2 8-inch lines. I got to come in right here, and so last year this valve was down here, and they made me cut it out and pup it and put the valve here.
Okay.
So now I need to cut in, put a little valve, and then put 2 6-inch lines coming out, and both these lines are going to go this way. Actually, 8-inch lines.
Awesome.
8-inch lines. And they're both going to shoot down this way, and they're going to shoot over into those lines.
Wow.
Yeah. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a vacuum push and pull.
Okay.
So one line is going to push it, and the other line is going to pull it. So those 2 lines will come here, and one will tie into this line, and then another one will come over and tie into that other line.
Okay.
And so that's another 8-inch project that I still have to do. Now this is just one of the dairies I built. There's the other one's down the street. There's another one down the street.
Okay.
That's basically like the little sister of this one. So whatever I did here, I had to mimic down there.
Wow.
But it's half the size of this one. It's a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So.
That is
Yeah.
really cool. And it's so nice. Like, there's no purge. You're just welding it.
Yeah, and
man.
you don't run hot enough to sugar it.
No.
And of course, if you sugar it, you reach in there, you grind it out best you can,
Right.
and you try to make it somewhat decent. But yeah, that's my build. I'm not the best, but I mean, I'm doing it.
And these guys choose stainless just because it's
stainless lasts longer.
Right. It
Yeah,
does.
stainless lasts a lot longer. Like these right here are just temporary. They're actually going to get some specialized hoses made for this.
Okay.
And then same for this, another special hose that goes into this.
Wow.
Yep.
Cow crap and non-purge stainless. That's like so easy.
Bro, easy
But it's
money.
good money.
Yeah, it's killer. And
All right.
these people are good to me too,
So
I
we'll
really
check
like
out
them.
that other place.
All right.
Or whatever you're thinking, man. Rig truck. Gotcha. So Martin entered your group. Just one of them.
Just one of them. And
Wow.
they're huge. So like this is all the sand that they're pulling out of the cow poo. Isn't that crazy that there's so much sand in their crap?
Yeah, I'm just blown away. I never knew anything like this existed.
Existed? Dude, I didn't know anything existed like this until just last year. When I got the picture on the napkin, he's like, can you build this? I was like, oh yeah.
Picture on the napkin. So this right, you all did all this right here.
This is all my measurements, bro. Okay. Like I pulled all these measurements right here.
Everything.
And I built all this yellow pipe right here.
Okay.
So it gets kind of intricate in there, you know, some of the stuff, but it just goes to the flare line. Damn, they got weeds growing in there real bad.
Gotcha. So
Nice.
this does the same thing as the other one?
Yep, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's way smaller.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, way smaller.
So is the plant over here. It's just like a miniature version of the other plant. All right, now we gotta go up and around the block.
For someone who owns this little operation right here, is that a pretty good moneymaker for them if they own it?
Yeah, you know, most of the dairies, you know, with this many cows, you know, they're gonna be pushing, you know, selling the gas back to the company. It really depends on how much they're pushing for volume, but you know, just ballpark, you know, it's probably about like $15,000 a day that this type of facility is pulling in and generating.
So
and it probably could fluctuate with the percentage of going in.
What's the profit margin? Like, what's their expenses, and then what do you think they're taking home as profit?
Well, I think that I think it's all profit at this point. Once the gas plant is up and it's operating, it's all paid off. It's all 100% profit at this point. Now it's just maintenance. So I feel like maintenance is a very low cost, right? You know, compared to what, you know, let's just say they're bringing in $15,000 a day. That's $90,000, you know, almost in 6 days, you know, that they're making. So, you know, you can say damn well they're making $1 million a year just off of this. And if they own more than one, well, that means they do more.
And they don't mind to pay a good contractor to do good work.
Nah, you know, they don't. And a lot of the times when I get the contract work, I tell people, I'm like, look, this is my price. And I don't really explain why it is my price. I just show up and show out. And when I show up and I show out, it clicks. Now we know why he is worth what he says he's worth. When he shows up and he does his work, it's great work. And basically what he's doing probably would have took 3 other guys and 3 times the price.
Right.
So we might as well pay him his decent fee and get it done just by him, because he's getting it done quick. Because I'm fast, bro. I'm quick. I like to be fast. I like to get it done. I like to get on to the next one. But I work hard too. There's days I'll work 12 hours, 16-hour days, you know, and go home just exhausted. But I know that if I just keep the ball rolling and I keep pushing, I'm going to get more knocked out in that 16 hours than if I was just to do an 8-hour day. So sometimes I do push myself 16, 15, 14 hours a day, because I know I can get it done faster than if I just come in and get 8 hours in one day, and then the next day I'm probably not going to get much done.
All right, so we're heading to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Wally, let's check out your truck and show everybody what you're working with.
Yeah, so this is my 2016 F350 6.7 Power Stroke, you know, whatever you want to call it. Some people love the Fords, some people hate the Fords. Well, I just happen to love a Ford, you know. And this is my beautiful truck. I built this bed custom for myself. I did half carbon, half stainless. And it's kind of just a representation of who I am and where I've been, the things I've seen, and who, you know, I've involved myself with. So it's a blend of all the different stuff I've seen out there. I've seen a lot of different welding beds. I've seen a lot of different apparatuses and conjunctions of how it's all put together. And so this is just my style of how I wanted to have my bed. I've always wanted to have something that shined, baby.
All right.
I wanted something that blinged, you know, and it's kind of dusty, but I put a mirror polish to it. And once I wash it up, it shines real nice. And mad shout out to Magnum for polishing these reels for me. This is an aluminum polish, guys, and this is a stainless polish. So don't confuse it for a chrome dip, because it's not chrome dipped. I put all the time in it to custom fabricate all this detail to it. And it's not the slickest, you know, and it may not be the prettiest, but I'll tell you what, I love it, man.
You did it yourself.
Yeah, I built this all myself. I put it all together. It's a piece of my work, you know. And so when people ask me, did you build this? I say, well, I wouldn't pay anybody else to build it for me, guys. Because that's just a representation of who I am. I haven't put a bumper on, and everybody tells me don't put a front bumper on, but I'm still going there for it. And I'm still going to get there. I have the design and idea in my head, and so when I finally get there, I'll get there. But, you know, I got my big old toolbox. I got my jack in the box, and I got all the power I'm going to need, you know, to weld with my bottles of gas and oxygen. And I even have another compartment to hold argon if I have to. So, you know, sometimes I'm carrying an argon bottle, too. I haven't quite built my trap door yet for my umbrella, my oxygen, and argon, but it's all work in progress. I'm a work in progress. I'm not even finished. I'm still working on me.
Right on. All right, that was a whole day with Wallys Welding World. He showed us where he's worked at and some of the projects that he has going on. Now, Wally, what's some advice that you would give somebody who's looking to do what you do in their hometown and maybe not travel as much? Because as I've learned today, you don't have to travel a crazy amount to make really good welding money. And that's what I did. And Wally, what are some tips that you could give anybody out there who's wanting to be like you?
I mean, you know, it's easy to be a wannabe. Be a wannabe like me. I wanted to be just like somebody else. I saw somebody in my hometown doing the same thing, capturing all the work. So what it was is realistically, you just got to go out there. You got to shake hands. You got to put a face to the name of the business. And you got to show people who you are. You got to talk your way into their mind and let them know you have a service that they need. That's what it's all about. I only get paid for my services out here. That's it. And at times when I get paid for them services, I'm giving it to the people that are doing services for me as well, helping my team thrive. That's what it's all about. Going out there and introducing yourself and showing people who you are, and then basically getting the work and then showing them what you're worth, because it's all going to be what you're worth in the end, guys. You got to know what you're worth. You can't go out there and sell yourself and be high cotton. You ain't the best. You know, I might charge a certain price because I feel like I've paid my dues, I've learned my things, and so I got a lot to offer to the table. So be sure when you're going out there and shaking hands, you tell people what you have to offer at the table, because that's what they want to know. What do you got that I need? Because if you ain't got something they need, why are you talking to them?
Exactly. So hopefully that helps out some of you young aspiring welders out there to get into the welding industry and to make a name for yourself, traveling abroad, or possibly, like Wally, staying in your hometown welding. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Again, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also that like button as well. And if you want to stay up to date on our notifications, go ahead and click the bell button, because we upload videos every week that are very helpful for welders in the welding industry.